Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. This is Kenya Revolutionary. Today we are going to review MBADI, Honorable John MBADI. I don't know how honorable he is, but we're about to find out. He had an interview with Spice FM where he addressed the issue regarding the MPs and the MCAs that were expelled from ODM, who they were trying to expel from ODM, okay? We're going to address that issue, just dissect his answers, what he says about it, and review and see what really is true and what's not true, okay? But before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment. Say something. What do you think about the video, okay? So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. Go.
We had issues with the members of the National Assembly. All of them, all these members, the 7 of them, voted against the interests of the party. Some did not come, some voted against the interests of the party. So that was one case which was tried. We took, remember, we had Honorable Passaris, we had Felix Oduor, we had Karoli Omondi, and those are the ones who faced the issue of voting on finance bill. The others, then there was the issue of promoting and furthering the interests of another political party. Now, that is where I think we need to be clear. Remember, at this time when these members went to State House, the so-called State House meeting, State House 1, because now there are a number of meetings after. The party had pronounced itself. That is the time we had fresh information regarding the outcome of the last election, last year's election, on where the whistleblower had given us other facts which we didn't have. And the party leader made it clear that we don't recognize the leadership, the presidency of William Ruto. That same week is when these members decided to go against that and visit State House, basically legitimizing what we were saying is illegitimate government.
Okay, so for that first clip, Mr. MBADI is saying that the MPs that were so-called expelled, which later he explains that he didn't expel them, and I'll get to that in the next clip, okay? But he said that the first sin that these Jalas, Esther Passaris, and the rest committed was that the party took the position that they recognized the president. Actually, let me be very clear. Let me be very clear so I can be fair to Mr. MBADI, okay? These members of parliament voted for the finance bill against the party's stance, okay? And according to MBADI, okay, the PG, the parliamentary group in the parliament, they had a meeting where the whipped them. Actually, they have to agree that this is going to be our position regarding the finance bill. But these guys still decided to vote for this finance bill, going against the parliamentary group, the whip. Okay? Because remember, ODM has its own parliamentary group, whatever. So they meet and they agree that whatever issue, like the weighty issue, as he explains later, they sit down and debate and discuss that on a particular issue, they will take a certain stance. So in the finance issue, the finance bill, they agreed that they are going to vote against the finance bill. But these MPs that they deemed that should be expelled, or deemed to have had resigned from the party, these guys, the Esther Passaris and Jalas and others, you know, the guy from, I don't know, Karoli Omondi, still decided to go and vote for the finance bill. That's strike 1, according to MBADI. Strike 2, MBADI explains that the party stand, and this is now not only on the parliamentary group, this is the party in general, outside the party and even outside the parliament and even in the parliamentary group, they all took a stand that not to recognize William Ruto as the president of Kenya. And that is because, and even that is, they say that they took that stand after they received the extra evidence from the anonymous source, the whistleblower, the so-called whistleblower, who we don't know to this day. And these MPs again decided to recognize Ruto as the president of Kenya, against the wishes of the party, against the party stance, okay? Now, there's a problem with this, Mr. John MBADI, okay? Problem number one, let's face the first one, okay? And no, let me face the second one. Let's leave the finance bill position, okay? Let's deal with the recognition of President William Ruto, okay? The lack of recognition, okay? Now, Supreme Court of Kenya, Kenya's Supreme Court, the highest court of the land, okay, pronounced itself after examining the evidence that was presented to it, given the timeline that was given, okay? Because after the election, you have, I think, 7 days to come and present a petition with evidence if you think this election, the election that has occurred, has some problems with it, okay? If you want to challenge the results, you do so at the Supreme Court. And you have 7 days to come up with the evidence and present the case. ODM and Azimio did that. Based on the evidence that was presented to the Supreme Court, they found that there was no enough evidence to suggest that William Ruto did not win fair and square. And so they withheld. So not withheld, but they held up the position of the IEBC that that William Ruto was legally voted in as the president of Kenya. Okay? So when this ODM MPs went and met William Ruto and legitimizing him, using MBADI's word, there's nothing wrong with that because they're still within the legal framework. The party stand might be not to recognize William Ruto as the president, but these guys, as per the law, because the legal branch, the legal authority, the legal arm of the government that is entrusted by the people, okay, to adjudicate on this matter, declared William Ruto the president of the Republic of Kenya. And these MPs went and met William Ruto after he was legitimized by the branch of government that has that authority, so they haven't broken the law. So whether ODM doesn't want to recognize Ruto as the president, if that's their stand, that's fine. But you cannot deem those guys rebellious just because they went and met the president, because they're still operating within the law. There's nothing in the constitution of the party constitution of ODM that says that you cannot go meet the president. You can meet the president as in your capacity as a member of parliament, whether it's to bring development to your constituency or for whatever reasons, okay? You're not barred from that. It's not illegal. So for them meeting William Ruto, whether they legitimize him, that's not an issue. You cannot deem them to have resigned from ODM just because they went to meet the president, who was recognized by the Supreme Court, the arm of government that has the power to adjudicate on the matter. Okay? And they met the president in their capacity as members of parliament of the constituency that they represent. So ODM cannot call them rebellious. Just because Raila Odinga and his minions and his cows doesn't want to recognize them does not mean it's an illegality. Does not make them rebellious just the fact that they met the president, the person who have been legitimized by the Supreme Court. Okay? Let's go on. And just to make a small correction, the Supreme Court did not declare William Ruto the president. the body that declares the winner of an election is the IEBC. The Supreme Court simply ruled on the petition that was put forth by the Azimio folks, challenging IEBC's decision or declaration that William Ruto won the election fair and square, okay? So the Supreme Court's role was basically to examine the evidence that the Azimio presented, and they say that, hey, that's not enough to suggest that William Ruto did not win fair and square. So it held up the IEBC position that William Ruto won the election fair and square, and so he was the president of the Republic of Kenya. Again, what also MBADI said is that these MPs, the ODM MPs that met William Ruto at the State House, were in effect, by doing so, advancing the interest of another party. Correction, Mr. MBADI. Meeting, and these ODM MPs made that clear, that they were meeting the president in their capacity as MPs, member of parliament, meeting the president. Question is, was William the president legitimate president of Kenya? Yes, legally he is. He was declared the president of the Republic of Kenya. These guys were going to meet the president in their capacity as members of parliament. There's no violation there, okay? That's not advancing the interest of another party. That's simply, meeting the leader of the nation, okay? Somebody, I don't agree with you there. Let's check the next clip.
There has been the misinformation, so to speak, that we are expelling the members. If you look at the Political Parties Act, there are various actions that could be taken against a member. One of them is expulsion, and I want to invite you to go and read Section 14 of the Political Parties Act. There is Section 14B, which talks about expulsion, how a member should be expelled and the grounds upon which a member can be expelled. But Section 14B, which is distinct, is about deeming a member to have resigned from the party. That is the section we are applying. And I would...
you're not expelling.
We are not expelling. In fact, if we were expelling the members... If we were expelling them, we would have taken them to the National Governing Council. Right. Allow me just to quickly read, Eric, with your colleagues.
This is the Political Parties
Act. The Political Parties Act, Section 14A. When a member may be deemed to have resigned from a political party. A person who, while being a member of a political party, shall be deemed to have resigned from the party if that person, there are a number of reasons, forms another political party, joins in the formation of another political party, joins another political party, but in any way...
in the formation of another political party.
Yes, joins another political party, or joins in the formation of another political party, or joins... forms another political party. It's different from joining another political party.
Right.
So there is forms another political party, joins in the formation of a political party.
That is participating in the formation of another political party.
Or joins another political party, where you simply say, I am moving from ODM to Ford Kenya. In any way or manner publicly advocates for the formation of another political party. But where I'm interested in is the E, promote the ideology, interests, or policies
of another political party.
And interests, Latif, Muga and Ndu, interest is interest. So we have a political party, ODM, which has its interests.
Right.
The moment you promote the interest of another political party, which is not ODM, and you're a member of ODM, you are deemed to have resigned. That is the law. It is not MBADI saying.
Sorry.
It's the law saying.
Nice. I'll make it very quick because I already mentioned this. And MBADI, he refers to the Political Parties Act, Section 14A. And he says that he uses the subsection, the E14, Section 14 A, subsection E, to kind of start the procedure of kicking these guys out, because by these guys doing this, meeting the president, okay, and also, you know, voting for the Finance Act, they were acting in the interest of another political party. So what does that section 14 say? Shall we read it again? I think you heard Mr. MBADI say it. Okay, let's read it together. I'll just be brief because my stance is pretty clear. All right, but let's do it real quick before I wrap this part 1 of MBADI's interview. Okay, 14A, 1. It says, a person who, while being a member of a political party, shall be deemed to have resigned from that party if that person, A, forms another political party, B, joins in the formation of another political party, C, joins another political party, D, in any way or manner publicly advocates for the formation of another political party, or E, promotes the ideology, interest, or policies of another political party. Now, by voting for the finance bill, let's start with the finance bill because this is not what I addressed, but by voting for the finance bill, how is that advancing the ideology of another party? The finance bill is a bill that usually comes from the executive, okay? What is a finance bill? We have to define that. Is it an ideology? Is it an interest? No. This, okay, the William Ruto belongs to Kenya Kwanza Party Coalition, UDA or whatever. Let's use that, okay? But he has been voted as the president. The president is the president of the nation. When the president brings up the finance bill to be voted on, remember, finance bill is a tax collecting measure based on the budget that had been passed by the what? The parliament, the National Assembly, okay? So basically, the administration, okay, the president of the nation brings the Finance Act, because this Finance Act is what will give him authority to collect taxes from the wananchi, its citizens, okay? So the president brings the finance bill before it becomes an act, okay? This is the bill. He says he wants to tax you 18% on fuel, whatever, 3% of your employee for the housing, whatever, so forth, okay? Then you vote for it. Every member of parliament ideally should vote according to what he or her constituency advisor to, because remember in the constitution, we have to respect Article 118. There has to be public participation. So when the president brings the finance bill, a tax collecting measure, okay, how are you going to be taxed in order to get this revenue to carry out A, B, C, D to fulfill the budget, okay, according to the budget. Okay, so he brings this. This is not a party ideology. This is the executive, the president of the nation, bringing it forth, asking its people, the people who he governs, you know, to pay these taxes for him to carry out A, B, C, D. So as a member of parliament, when the president brings this finance bill before it becomes an act, you have to review it, go back to a constituency, ask your constituency, hey, the president wants us to pay 18% on tax, VAT on tax. Do you agree? They'll either tell you, no, we don't agree. You take a kind of vote or whatever. You hear what your people say. You go back to parliament and you vote accordingly. It's not necessarily an ideology, because every president that's elected, every fiscal year, the president has to have, any administration has to have a finance act. Okay? He has to, in order to operate, to collect taxes. Okay? So it's not an ideology. It's not an interest. All right? So you cannot say whether they vote for or against. Okay, I understand. ODM stance was to go against this finance bill. Do not vote for it. But your primary responsibility as a member of parliament, you might disagree with the party position and vote not only according to your conscience, but according to the will of the people who represent you, because the people who represent you are your boss, your constituency, the people who voted for you. That's the power that you're exercising. So you have to consult with them and vote according to how they want it. Now, we can debate on whether or not the people of Langata wanted the last to vote for finance bill. Okay? We can debate on that. Okay? But going against a party stance does not automatically qualifies that person to be deemed as, leaving the party, resigning from ODM party. Jalas, by the mere fact that he voted for this finance bill, for example, does not necessarily suggest that he is promoting or advancing the interests of the Kenya Kwanza side, Kenya Kwanza people. That's making him to be deemed to have resigned from ODM. People can vote either way. Sometimes you can disagree with your party. Does not mean that you're against the party. Does not mean that you're whatever. You're advancing somebody else's ideology or interest. That's why you see MBADI, after reading that, he say, interest is interest. He knew that he was the reasons why in which they were trying to disqualify these guys in order to be suspended from ODM are the flimsiest of the reasons. It cannot hold weight. But anyway, this is the part 1 of this video. I don't want to keep it long. I'll come up with the part 2 of MBADI interview, and we shall discuss more on this issue, all right? Again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe, share, like, comment, and I'll talk to you guys later. See you in part 2 of this video series of MBADI interview on Spice FM. Peace.